Welcome everybody. Today I'm presenting you a case study report about Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson is an iconic US motorcycle manufacturer. It was established in the beginning of the 19th century in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In the past, most of sales were generated in the domestic market. However, the financial crisis in 2008 gave them a wake-up call considering over-reliance on the domestic market. Therefore, 2 years later, assemblies were built in India and Brazil, enabling them to distribute motorcycles within 86 countries all over the world. In 2015, Matthew Levatich was announced as the new CEO of the company. He has already been working within the company for more than 20 years. Let's have a look at the opportunities facing the company. For Harley-Davidson, there lies a huge potential in emerging markets, such as the BRIC states, or other known as Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Harley-Davidson has based its main success through selling products in the US and was therefore dependent on the development of the American economy. However, the globalization of economies brought the advantage of exporting products into other countries, which is why US international shipments have increased from 76,000 to 96,000 between 2006 and 2016, meaning that they are less reliant on the domestic market. Since Harley-Davidson's target audience is getting older and is therefore shrinking, they are forced to build a more diversified customer base. The new, younger generation tends to prefer spending money on experiences rather than possessions and yearning for customization and differentiation. Last but not least, Harley-Davidson could attract more women and people from different cultural backgrounds, which promises a substantial market potential for the future. The customization and the product differentiation would enable them to access new customer groups and thereby increase the number of potential purchasers. Now, let's have a look at the threats facing the company. The competitive density of the international and domestic motorcycle market can be considered as high. On an international level, Harley has to compete with Japanese low-price competitors such as Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamaha. In Europe, motorcycle manufacturers like BMW and Ducati are producing bikes in the premium segment. And in the domestic market, Polarized Industries is putting Harley-Davidson under pressure with price discounts. Another threat we have identified is the new American First foreign policy. The aim of this policy is to strengthen the US economy and to bring back millions of jobs. It is actively intervening on the business of US companies, which is increasing the dependence of US companies on the government. As a result of this policy, international expansion is seen as the enemy, which is also why the President has cancelled the Trans-Pacific partnerships. Exporting to some emerging markets, such as Thailand and India, imply paying high trade tariffs and can only be avoided by building subsidiaries. Since US companies are not supposed to expand to other countries, prices of their products exported to such countries will increase. Not only due to the trade tariffs, but also because of the lower labor costs that such countries can provide. This will lead to a competitive disadvantage. Companies that restrain their international expansion are being punished by the President through stock price moving tweets, and countless of companies have suffered of a dramatical decrease in share prices and a damaged brand image. Now, Levatich needs to take decision in order to counter-steer falling sales. The named opportunities, such as expanding into emerging countries to become less reliant on the domestic market, are being distinguished by the foreign policy. The The president could mention the company in a negative statement, which will lead to a plummeting stock price. And since the performance of Levattisch is being determined by the development of the share price, an expansion to those markets is questionable. We came to the following proposal for the new strategy. Levattisch should focus on addressing new customers more consistently, such as millennials, African American, Hispanics, and in general, more women. He should align product strategy to diversified customer base, which means that he should add smaller models to the product mix. As an example of such a model could be the Cruiser. Due to the risk of the foreign policy, we propose to produce domestically. Instead of offshoring jobs, they should create more in the US. As a result, they would take advantage of well-trained personnel. The bikes will then be produced in high quality, which is why they should also hold on to their current pricing strategy. In order to increase sales, Harley-Davidson should implement a new export strategy and adhere to the new foreign policy, which will prevent them from falling stock prices. To follow the strategy, new dealerships will be made within those countries that don't imply high trade tariffs. So, this brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.